So first of missions for GYP. So we seek to provide a platform and opportunity for youth to learn about philanthropy as a tool for social change and character building. And moreover, so we promote and we hope to promote communication and collaboration among youth philanthropic organizations around the world. So we are a member of the Massachusetts Nonprofit Network, and we are an official certifying organization for the President's Volunteering Service Award. So if you have any questions about how to apply for that or any questions about the logistics of that award, please contact us directly, and I will send out a link and WeChat code for later. So feel free to scan this code to follow us. And we have our website, our Instagram, Facebook, and our email here. So I'll leave this up here for about 2 minutes for everyone to screen share it. All right, and also I'll also leave this up here for everyone who wants it at the end of the seminar. So this is our 7th event for the series, and in the past few events, we have done something about extracurricular activities, multicultural clubs, and community service, and also something about the history and sharing cultures. And I'm very excited to be host today, and welcome to all the people here, and for Amy and Stanley for joining us today. So today's seminar is a bit different because it's jointly organized by us and AI Go Learning. So first, what we're going to do is we'll have 2 student leaders of JYP, Amy and Kevin, and they will share their experience about their high school with STEM and how to integrate their STEM skills with volunteering philanthropic questions and projects in high school. And last but not least, we'll also have AI Go Learning student president, Stanley, join us today, and he will introduce more about artificial intelligence and their coding training programs of AI Go Learning. And if you feel like you don't have everything answered today, don't worry, we'll have another AI coding information session, which will be next Friday, which is May 27th, for more Q&A. So more about AI Go Learning. It is a students-run nonprofit organization, and they're dedicated to educating children on artificial intelligence coding by advocating for student teaching, which is pretty unique. So what they would do is that they will invite young leaders from around the world to teach and show the knowledge to kids. And they have branches in USA, Canada, India, and Vietnam. So here's a couple of programs that they're doing here: Scratch Games, Scratch AI, and Python, Java, C++, a lot of other languages too. So JYP has organized a series of coding programs and website building programs before, which is all free. However, this one will have a slight cost to them, but don't worry, they're very low. And we also will be offering some free courses for students and families with special needs. And again, here's the code. I'll leave this up here for 1 minute if anyone needs it. All right, so we'll move on to our seminar right now, and we'll first welcome Kevin from California, and he'll be doing some introduction about himself, more information about his high school journey and the STEM area. All right, Kevin, you have the stage.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. All right, everybody, welcome to my presentation in STEM and social good. So as Lucy mentioned, my name is Kevin. I'm a high school student at Harker, and I'm going to be studying at Princeton next year. So in my presentation, I just wanted to go over my experiences in volunteering, social good, research, and STEM, and how they intersected with each other throughout my high school journey. I'm really happy to be able to speak to you all, and hopefully you guys can take away something useful from my presentation and use it to help guide your journey in high school. So before I get started, I just want to say that my slides are organized in outline form. So every bullet point is just one thing that I did in high school that falls under this theme. And so if you guys, because in this presentation, I'm mainly going to be going over an overview of my journey, but if after the presentation, you guys want to dive deeper or ask questions about specific components of it, I'm happy to go into depth about each bullet point. But just to get started, I want to start by talking about how I was able to learn my basic STEM skills in the first place. I think that throughout my high school journey, my journey in learning STEM consisted of first learning some basic STEM skills on my own, and then most of my learning happened through doing projects. So in this slide, I want to talk about how I got started in the STEM skills in the first place. So in middle school, I always really enjoyed math competitions. So I was in my math club, math elective, did competitions like math league, math counts, things like that. And I wouldn't say that directly translated to high school, but it really gave me a good problem-solving mindset for me that really helped me in my STEM journey in high school. And it also allowed me to hone in on my interests. So in ninth grade, when I joined high school, I knew what clubs I wanted to join. So I joined AI club, math club, programming club. And these clubs are all really useful for me because each of the clubs, they had a lot of upperclassmen who were really knowledgeable about the field and were hosting lectures and workshops and events that I attended and was able to develop my basic like AI, like particularly AI club was really useful for me. I really enjoyed AI, and I went to the AI workshops to give me a really good introduction about the field. And so AI club, because I was really interested in AI, and most of AI in high school is based on Python. I also self-studied based on basic Python from Coursera, just so I can get the foundation of the language, and that helped me in my AI journey as well. Okay, so after I just got a basic feel of the fields, I began to apply these STEM skills to real world problems. So in the summer after ninth grade, I attended ASDRP, which is a research program. And I was really fortunate to be paired with a great mentor in Dr. Mui, who was an MIT alum and a senior vice president at Salesforce. So he had a really broad experience and was a really good mentor and helped me and a few other high school students in a project to use AI to study gender bias in automated hiring systems. So automated hiring systems, just to give a little bit of background, is systems that companies use to automatically screen through candidates. If they have 1,000 candidates, they'll screen through the candidates, find like the top 20 to interview. And at the time, it was really big news that in Amazon's automated hiring system, they found a lot of gender biases against women. And so our team developed an AI methodology to study gender bias across different systems. And it was really successful. We were able to we were able to write a paper and publish it in an undergraduate research conference. And we were even able to meet Ashutosh Garg, CEO of AFOL.ai, which is a top automated hiring system in the country. And I would say this is a really great first research experience for me that introduced me to the field and allowed me to gain the skills surrounding the projects. And then the summer after that, I continued my interest in applying STEM to real world problems. In this case, I really wanted to study the pandemic, which was the most pressing problem at the time. And so I built a COVID-19 prediction model using a pretty unique methodology. I actually studied social media, namely Twitter. So I downloaded 60 million tweets, and I used the geo-tracking feature on Twitter to locate areas in the country where there was an influx of tweets that were of people proposing their own symptoms. And from there, I was able to use natural language processing to predict where outbreaks might occur about 2 weeks in advance. And I combined that with traditional autoregression method to bolster my model. The same summer, I also used my STEM skills to delve into another area, which namely astronomy. So I worked with Professors Key and Kupfer, and my experiences were mainly through in observational astronomy. I used deep neural networks and GPU technology to mine data through telescope images and astronomical space surveys, able to make my own methodology working alongside my professors to actually discover 3 exoplanet candidates and hundreds of a certain type of star system called hot subdwarfs. And I'm currently in the process of publishing 2 papers just to introduce the technology, the new methodology, and also analysis on the candidates I'm discovering. So I say all this, I would say that through each of these projects, I was able to learn so much about not only STEM, but also teamwork, and also how STEM can be applied to real world problems. And so if I were to recommend a way of getting into STEM, I would say start with just some basics studying on your own, but the best way to learn is really just to go for it and to choose a topic, choose a project that you're interested in, get a mentor, and then dive into it, and you'll be learning a lot. So outside of research projects, I also wanted to use STEM to give back in a more direct way through teaching, because in my earlier years, I had a lot of great mentors in the STEM fields that cultivated my passion, helped me along. So I really value giving back to the community and using my STEM skills to teach younger generations and younger students and cultivate their passions as well. So I'm a 5-year math teacher and math and CS teacher at the nonprofits SVCU and Silicon Valley Youth. I taught AMCA and USAGO. And so these are mainly the basic or like the main competitions in math and CS respectively that really got me into the STEM fields in the first place. And my goal as a teacher is always to cultivate the passion, get their drive for problem solving, get them to enjoy pursuing tough problems, not only in the competition fields, but also hopefully applying that to the broader world afterwards. And then I also was able to give back to my AI club. This year, I became the AI club lecture coordinator at my school. And that's really great because I get to coordinate my lectures, and I have a team of lecturers that we host every few weeks a lecture or a workshop for underclassmen and to mentor them and introduce them to the field the same way I was introduced to the field by AI Club when I was in 9th grade. And the final thing is that I recently launched a nonprofit startup company called Ring About Tutoring. And this is part of my desire to up-level what I've been doing to create an online platform that can connect students to qualified tutors in a real-time manner on a scalable way. So this is something that is under development and is a project that I'm going to be working on heavily over the summer, and we'll see where that goes. And then finally, I just wanted to give a quick note about STEM competitions. Even though this doesn't really fall directly under social good, I know a lot of people are interested in STEM competitions. I did well on STEM competitions in high school, qualifying for USIMO and USCO Platinum. And I just wanted to give a bit of my recommended strategies or resources that really helped me during my journey in high school. So Idea Math, definitely one of the best experiences in high school that really gave me, it's a math summer camp that really gave me a community of math lovers to work with. Alpha Star for both math and CS. Their classes on math competition and CS competition are really good. AOPS, the books, the online platforms, the online practice problems for sure. And finally, of course, you have to self-study. If you want to really be successful in these competitions, it's really incumbent on you to do problems, think about the problems, reveal the problems, derive questions, and go ask your mentors for those questions, and to work through that on your own. So yeah, that's a bit about my journey in high school. I'm leaving my contact information on the screen here. So if you have any questions or follow-ups or want to ask for advice or just want to contact me for any reason whatsoever, you can email me, kevinwongisme@gmail.com, or the phone number on the screen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for that very insightful and very useful presentation. And before we go further, I want to leave some time for everyone to ask questions right now. So if you have any follow-up questions, Kevin, about his journey in high school or about his experience with competitions, feel free to unmute yourself or put it into the chat. All right, great. So seeing no questions, we'll go to Amy's presentation. So Amy's a senior in Illinois, and she has started a club and a couple of organizations related to her STEM interests. And she has also attended a MIT research program to further pursue her interests. And congratulations to Amy for making it into Harvard. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Amy.
All right, thanks for the introduction. I really appreciate it. But yeah, hi, I'm Amy. I'm still a senior. My school graduates a bit late, but I'm a senior in high school and in Illinois. And yeah, so I've always been pretty interested in STEM. So I think, as Kevin kind of mentioned, Scratch kind of being that gateway, or as AI Go mentions, with Scratch being that gateway, I've always done a little bit with Scratch, a little bit with computing as a child, and so. In high school, actually, in 9th grade, I was lucky enough to go to a Stanford kind of pre-college summer camp that kind of brought me into the world of AI, brought me into the world of that computation. And yeah, I got to explore a lot regarding the applications of AI in the real world, applications of AI in different fields, and how to kind of utilize that that structure in our daily lives. And so that got me pretty interested in these applications, and I kind of took it further with the classes I was able to take at high school. So I took AP Stats in high school. I took the CS classes that were available, as well as the AP Seminar, AP Research classes that our school was able to offer. And yeah, that really got me into the gist of data science and data science as a field. And so I know that this is kind of an AI-centered sort of lecture series right now. And so data science, it's a little bit of a hot buzzword at the moment. And I know a lot of people hear it around, a lot of people hear it as a kind of hot topic. And in a sense, to me, this is kind of still relevant to this AI part of the series, because AI is part of data science. It's kind of a bit of a broader field that AI is part of. But in essence, data science is really the intersection between using computer science, using statistics and kind of that math modeling, and using a domain of your choice. So in that sense, data science, just like AI, it's very applicable and very informative regarding making models, making decisions, and building important tools that can help us in different fields and different parts of our lifestyle. So I really got my kick of data science there, kind of started out my love for that field based on that camp. And so sophomore year of my high school, I founded the data science club at my school. And so founding that thing, that was a whole nother story, but I got the AP Stats teacher at our school to sponsor it. And initially the first year, we got shut down because of COVID in March, as I think all of you remember. But junior year, we kind of officially got things running up, and those in a sort of Zoom platform, we were able to get the concept up and started to grow our club. And so currently our club is at 50-ish members. We are a very open club in which any kind of member from the school can join and learn about Data Science Club. And the purpose of Data Science Club for me kind of encompasses two different parts. So first is the outreach and the promotion of data science in our school. So obviously a lot of high school students, they know buzzwords such as AI, they know buzzwords such as data science. They're not really sure what that actually entails. And so what our club does is that it allows members to get this taste of what data science really means and how they can use it, because they can kind of turn it into a tangible learning thing for them. So what we do is that we have kind of weekly workshops that we do weekly lecture series in which the members can kind of understand, oh, here's how we can use Python, here's how we can understand specific algorithms or specific statistical procedures, and what kind of applications this can use, which I can use for my own projects. And so this gives kind of both the members inside the club a bit of an introduction to a field that they've never learned before, as well as gives the members of our community in general a little taste of what data science can do outside of the classroom. And that gets us actually into our second part, in which our club also focuses on using the data science that we've known and applying it to projects that can benefit the community. So for example, we've done some projects regarding, for example, student mental health, or looking at the school scheduling, in which we can survey, say, a cohort of students. We can take that data that we've generated, and then using that to analyze tangible results and provide meaningful reports to, say, the administration or other clubs that might be interested in these results, in order to look at the community patterns and help us understand these trends of data. And we can take the lecture series and all those informations that we've known in order to translate that into viable data analysis. At the moment, what we're working on is a very interesting course calculator. So we're looking at how much time students spend on a specific course, and then we're hoping to take this data from a survey and then translating it into a tangible kind of calculator, so that students can input their schedule. They can get sort of a approximate distribution of time that they might spend per day of high school in these courses. And this can help people with managing their schedules and managing what courses they'd like to take, rather than taking all APs and just being, imploding. They can manage their time and figure out their strengths in order to work with a more mentally healthy schedule. And so that's, for example, one of the projects that we've been able to tackle and are currently working on. In addition, we've also expanded into a sports analytics branch. So a couple interested members, specifically focusing on improving and working with the coaches at our school in order to look at, say, swimmers' data or something else in order to help improve our athletics program, things like that. So it's a very worthwhile club for me to have been able to start and have been able to help teach and lead. And we've definitely had our fair share of awards. We've won honorable mention nationally at the MathWorks math modeling competition, which is kind of an international competition in Britain and the US based on math modeling. So we've been working on that for the past couple of years as well. But yeah, that's my data science club. And in addition, because of the kind of success that this club has brought, I was also able to take this outside of the classroom. So I also founded Data Horizon, which is a kind of data science nonprofit. It kind of also works on extending that outreach and allowing data science experience and kind of learning data science for kids K through 12 outside of a classroom, for kids who probably have never heard of data science or have not been sure how to approach data science before. So in Data Horizon, I'm the founder, and basically we work on creating these speaker series, monthly data analysis or webinar series, as well as workshops, which allow kids to experience, say, coding in Python or using real data sets to create little projects here. We've also been able to collaborate with a few nonprofits. For example, the Rivers Foundation is the largest nonprofit in South Africa. We've been working on analyzing some data for them and perhaps building a kind of database. And in addition, of course, our partnership with GYP, which has definitely helped in the collaboration of a lot of different nonprofits and kind of extending that support for data science in different regions of the world. And so in addition, we've also had, for example, speaker series in which people who use data science in their average career in places such as the finance sector, in the health sector, come in and allow students to understand what data science can do in their own lives. And so definitely a lot more projects that we're hoping to bring in, but for me, that's definitely one of the most worthwhile parts of working with data science, is helping peers and helping a lot of other students and people who have kind of started understanding this advancing field, helping them to get the kind of application and get the experience necessary to kind of start using it in their own lives, in their own fields. And yeah, I think that's really the power for data science for me, and the power of STEM in general and AI. And as the series kind of promotes, being able to work with such a diverse application, such a diverse means of using it. So for example, I'm personally, as similar to Kevin, I've done some research with my usage of data science as well. So our school, as I mentioned, we have a very nice kind of research program. And so through there, I was able to kind of get my grip and get my start with research with a few professors, a few university professors, in which I did some computational biology research. And so that's one of the fields that I was able to use data science with. And yeah, even with, for example, as Lucy mentioned, I was lucky enough to be selected into MIT's RSI program, in which I was matched with a Harvard professor, and we did a lot of work with computational biology and math modeling. But once again, that's only one of the domains that data science was able to help and promote for me. And for example, my friend, he's doing finance and data science, and being able to create models for example, the stock trends or that portfolio building. And my other friend, for example, sports analytics, looking at trends within sports, looking at what a player does, how he can impact his own game, all these amazing models and a lot of information dug from a lot of raw numbers that from first glance does not seem very useful to anybody. Data science and this kind of new computational era allows us to get a better understanding and a deeper understanding of these numbers and this knowledge that we were not previously able to handle. So definitely looking at the benefits of data science and in this era, both in research, for example, in general good, academic good, and as well as social good, helping to promote trends in the community, helping to even create outreach for other people to use this tool for themselves. Definitely a very worthwhile and impactful process. And I'm very glad that I was able to have the unique experience of working with so many different people under this specific domain. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amy, for that wonderful, wonderful presentation. And just to echo your idea, I also think that it's very important to know more about STEM and science and data science right now, because it's teaching us more about critical thinking skills and instills a passion for creativity and innovation. And it also helps us to learn more about the problem solving skills and help you to explore more while learning, which is very essential to success across a number of tasks and disciplines for your future. Yeah, so now I'll ask for any questions for Amy. All right, great. So we'll be moving on to our next presentation with Stanley. So Stanley is a passionate teacher with coding and artificial intelligence, and he has achieved success in many national coding competitions and international hackathons and case competitions. And I'm sure that he'll have a lot of insightful advice to share with us today on the topic of artificial intelligence and coding. And Stanley, please feel free to take it away.
Me, I'm just going to start sharing my screen. Let me know if anybody can see it. Is this okay?
So it's a black screen right now. Okay, we can see it now.
Cool. Okay, that sounds good. Then yeah, let's get started. So yeah, before I begin my presentation, I would like to first thank you, the host, for having me here today to present to you this wonderful opportunity for everyone here. And also I'd like to thank the other two speakers, Amy and Kevin, for your speeches. I think they were very insightful, as well as a very good experience for anybody that's looking forward to going to the AI field or the STEM field by any chance. Yeah, so to kind of hop into my presentation now about IGO learning. So basically, there's a few things I'd like to talk about first, which is unlike the other two, instead of giving too much advice on AI, because I think the other two has already provided lots of great insight, I'm actually going to be giving a lot of advice on how to gain the opportunity to actually have coding experiences in high school before you go to university, et cetera, et cetera. So today I'll be introducing to you IGO Learning, what we stand for as an organization, and how you can join us and how you can become better at AI and also contribute to the world with AI. So to start off with, I would like to begin with a quick quote. All my friends who have younger siblings who are going to college or high school, my number one piece of advice is you should learn how to program. And this quote is by Mark Zuckerberg. And the importance of this quote is that it captures the importance of coding classes in one beautifully articulated sentence. This is the reason why individuals should learn coding, as well as learning AI that's becoming more prominent in today's world. So who am I? To quickly sum up who I am, this presentation is not about me, but more about opportunity that we can give to you. I'm the president here at IGO Learning. I'm also the executive director for many nonprofits around my area. I'm also a snow school professional, AKA a snowboarding instructor for one of the local ski resorts around my area. And the reason why I have to bring that up is because I have to tie the professional field of actually teaching snowboarding, as well as connecting it to how it connects with teaching coding in reality. So I would like to present today a fantastic opportunity for students to get involved with coding, just like what Kevin Amy said, to get involved with stats, to get involved with AI in the real world. We want to provide the opportunity for students to perhaps become teachers or perhaps take lessons in order to become better coders and contribute to the world. Now, when I was young, I loved coding. I really enjoyed coding. However, Kevin was great. Kevin was able to research a lot of things. However, for me, I was kind of stuck. I didn't know where to start. I had no sense of direction. I had no mentor. I had nothing. I did not know where to start. And even though I loved coding, since I had nowhere to start, I wasn't able to learn coding until I was grade 9 or even later into grade 10. So in this case, we as IGO Learning want to give students the opportunity to actually find a direction on how coding can help them and how coding might be something that's interesting for them. And I won't be sharing too much about my extracurriculars, but if you're interested, just let me know and then I can answer any questions after the PowerPoint. So firstly, to kind of introduce everything, what is IGO Learning and who are we? And before we jump into that, I would like to share something that our organization believes is very important. So in order to create a better and brighter future, it's very important to empower young minds. So as we grow older, as we become more senior students, as we move along to university, we understand that we're going to be part of this generation. However, next generation that's after us is going to be your younger brothers, your younger sisters, and guess what? Elementary school students, maybe even some lower middle class students. We need to understand that in order to have a successful generation next year, we need to actually empower them starting from now. And this is why IGO Learning exists, and that's what we want to do. IGO Learning, we are a registered nonprofit organization here in America, and we want to dedicate our students how to code. And our initiative, and our main initiative here at IGO Learning is the Teens Teach Kids initiative. We want to have teens come out and actually teach younger students how it is to code, especially with AI as it's becoming more prominent in today's world. We need to understand that by advocating student teaching, a student is able to step out of their comfort zone and become a better communicator, feel what it feels like to actually work in a professional environment, and at last, gaining responsibility and interpersonal skills that are awfully important as they start growing up and becoming a better person. Now, by stepping out, they can fundamentally also change what it feels like to code. They can understand more of the code from personal experience. By teaching coding, I taught coding for the past 3 years. And by teaching coding, I have gained a deeper understanding of how coding works and how to actually apply coding into more and more scenarios, and also be able to effectively communicate and explain what it's like to code. And from another great experience, actually, I have a big brother of mine, and he works at Lyft as a senior software engineer, where he actually came to me and started teaching me how to code, especially with Python and also with machine learning. And the main reason why he actually came back to teach me how to code was because he also wanted to become stronger at coding himself. And the way he did that was by teaching coding, was by giving me the information that he had and making it fundamentally more hard for him to forget. Now, with all that said in mind, We don't want to restrict our students to simply teach one course and force them to keep on teaching that course forever. No, we don't want to do that. That's why for our initiative, Themes Teach Kids, we have a lot of courses. We have 12 courses in total with 32 different levels. And as you can see from the screen that's shown currently, we have courses such as Scratch, Python, Java, all different levels of coding. Now, if you are more interested in teaching a more beginnerish class, maybe you're a beginner yourself, but would also like to fundamentally understand what coding is before moving on to harder and harder languages, maybe it's great for you to start at Scratch. Maybe perhaps you're somebody who dislikes coding a bit more and more around the hands-on hardware type of thing. Maybe then the robotics class would be a perfect fit for you. On the other hand, we also have competitions that you can also teach, which is amazing, as you can gain more insight on how to teach it, as well as how to apply it so that your students will understand what you are going to do. Now, the curriculum is fully built by us, and we have a full department of curriculum builders that takes advice from the teachers and our current 500 teachers and current 3,000 students. We take advice from these students, and we all constantly try to improve our curriculum, make it better, and make it more accessible for everyone. We have a fully free training system that I'll touch later on, fully free and fully self-paced. And yeah, with this case in mind, let's move on to a little bit about what our classes are made up of. In this case, our projects or our classes are mainly project-based learning. And what does it mean by project-based learning? Instead of having the traditional way of actually learning by learning it from a piece of whiteboard and then directly applying it, what we want to do is we want children to actually achieve hands-on learning, right? We want them to create projects as well as they learn, because we understand that in today's world, it's much easier to actually learn something, especially with coding. It's much easier to learn something if you do it yourself a few times, rather than just having somebody explain to you and then applying it to a mini project at the end. We want to create projects all the time, and we want to continue creating these projects as we want to create while the children learn. So with this in mind, we also want to connect something very important to today's world, which in this case is AI. And the reason why AI is becoming more important is because a lot of things are becoming more automated, and a lot of things are, guess what, becoming more modernized, becoming more technologically advanced. Taking a look at our course over here, this is one of our AI courses. This is our Scratch plus AI course. We want to take Scratch to the next level in case students want to perhaps try something new. Therefore, that's the reason why we developed the Scratch plus AI course. It's just taking the simple Scratch curriculum, the introduction to coding, and making it harder so individuals can fundamentally understand what it's truly like to code with AI. We understand that what AI basically means, Kevin explained very well. To kind of, I'll summarize it, to basically machine learning. As humans, we are able to think and we are able to experience things around us. What machine learning is basically we want to teach a machine how to learn from their experience. We want to teach a machine how to mimic human intelligence. For example, Tesla is also doing that right now. And guess what? How is Tesla doing that? Auto drive. Sometimes you'll be able to see that Tesla, for a short amount of time, they are able to drive by themselves. And as a more modernized world, as we move into a more modernized world, it's going to become much, much, much closer to fully automated car. And that's really important why we should also embrace AI and also have a fundamental understanding of AI. Now, with that in mind, I would like to touch up on teaching for leadership. Okay, we understand that as a teacher, not only will you be able to become better at communicating, however, we want to build you as a leader. We want to build you with somebody with confidence and somebody that's able to effectively communicate your ideas through piloting projects and teaching interactive courses to students who they all enjoy. And the thing is, not only are you able to teach at our organization, but you are also automatically qualified for lots of awards. I know how Lucy touched upon what PSVA, what the Presidential Volunteer Service Award is. It's a very large award here in America, and it's one of the greatest awards you can achieve as a student and as an American citizen. Now, for the Presidential's Volunteer Service Award, or PSVA for short, we are also a distributor of that. So in any case, by supporting us, or at least joining our organization, not only as a teacher, but you can also join as a member. You can also join as a leadership position. You can also join as a management position. We have multiple departments that you can try joining. But in this case, by joining, you'll automatically also be qualifying for these awards. So not only will you be learning how to become a better person yourself, how to become a more effective communicator, how to become a better leader, but aside from that, you're also automatically qualifying for volunteer hours that can directly be applied to the volunteer service awards that we have here. Also, National Honor Society is also a great example of where your volunteer hours can go towards. Now, with this in mind, our teacher training, right? So we talked about how, hey, you can teach coding and there's a lot of abilities for you to teach coding, but what happens, or what are you going to teach? How are you going to teach it? Well, we have a fully free teacher training here. We have fully free training for, in any case, anybody that wants to become part of our team. We have a full finished curriculum, already finished design and currently being improved. So what we do is we have a fully self-paced training program as well as a free training program where you spend time and you spend your own time watching videos and watching materials that we already prepared for you in advance to show that, or to at least teach you what the things you need to teach to the students are. And in this case, after that, you just need to call us up and we will be able to give you a quick administration test to kind of see where you're at. And guess what? Best of all, there's no failures at all. It's to see where you're at, if you finished making your progress, and if so, what level of classes we can put you into. And just like over here, you can visit our YouTube channel, AI Learning, search it up. We have a free training information session that you can take a look at if by any chance if you're interested. There's free training. After that, you become a teaching assistant, automatically gain experience in the professional field of teaching, and at last, becoming a teacher. Now, what's the benefits of being a teacher? I told you about how you can become a more effective communicator. That's for obvious, but also you'll be able to develop responsibility. Now, responsibility is not something very easy that's developed. You need to actually be in an environment where you can have responsibility in order for you to become a more responsible person yourself. Here at AI Learning, by becoming a teacher, you can be more responsible, right? There's specific times of classes, and you have to remind yourself when each class is. For each class, you have to send out reminders to tell parents, students, hey, when this class is, and hey, come here, be here on time, it's time to learn, it's time to learn. Secondly, you also have to call attendance, you have to be like a teacher in your own school, but however, it's just online. You have to remind them to these classes, and you have to call attendance, et cetera, et cetera. And lastly, there's also reports after you teach each class, and I'll touch up on that right after. But the most important part here is responsibility. You're learning how to be a leader, and you're learning how to manage your classes successfully and be a more responsible person. Now, class report and evaluation. This is quite important. Since being a teacher at AI Learning, what you can do, you can basically be able to write these classes, you'll be able to write these reports, and you will be able to give feedback to the students that are taking your class. This way, this is very important, as this is very similar to a professional field in the real world. It increases your communication skills, and for your future employer, this is something very important. You need to be able to communicate your thoughts effectively and communicate what you have to say and what you have to think on a piece of paper very fast. And this straight up comes from my experience working as a snowboarding instructor at one of the ski resorts. AI Learning is very, very similar to this. I have to write down what the students are doing and add it on to a class sheet and then report it directly to my supervisor. So what you're doing at AI Learning is basically directly applying and approaching this to real life and your future as a worker. Now, some of the things that are very important, which is serving communities. Not only do we have a program where we can teach students how to do AI, no matter if you want to learn AI or else if you want to teach AI, but we also have the STEM for All program. And what we want to do is provide low-income families, underprivileged, underrepresented students with the ability to learn coding absolutely for free, as we don't want anybody in the world to lack the ability to learn coding. As you can see, we have reached out to large organizations in Africa. We have large organizations in Canada, mentally disabled youth that we are currently working with so that they can achieve this level of coding and at least a minimum coding knowledge that is truly crucial in today's world. Moving after that, we also have a school club and a local chapter that you can develop. Just like Lucy told about a little bit about the starting presentation, we already have branches in Canada, India, Switzerland, Vietnam, and it doesn't stop there. Currently, we're setting up also new branches and also in Egypt, Germany. We have a lot of branches. Now, the thing is, if you want to try your own branch, if you want to start with New Jersey, if you want to start one somewhere in your local schools, if you want to start with New York, that's all for it. You can do that anytime you want. And it's actually very easy how you can create a branch because we already have all the things for you. You can just find individuals that are interested in also teaching students and how to help students become better at AI. You can do that and you can find students and we'll be able to train them completely for you. All you need to do is set it up. And therefore, that's basically finished. And taking a look down below, there's a YouTube channel that you can quickly go to if you want to learn more about this. Aside from that, we also have hackathons, right? Hackathons are great. Hackathons help you apply your coding knowledge into a real life scenario by creating a product. And by creating that product, we actually, in this case, for our hackathons, we actually have a lot of panelists. So one of the annual hackathons that we do, in this case, it's going to be Future Hacks 4. This is going to be our 4th hackathon. We had 3 previously. And the cool thing about our hackathons is that it's a 2 to 3 day competition, coding competition, where you use your coding skills that you've learned or either you've applied, and you try to create a project with it, with 1 or 2 people as your team members. And after that, we actually invited individuals from software engineers from Facebook, Amazon, MIT graduates, Harvard graduates, and we actually invited them to actually come and help judge and provide feedback for you for the things that you've created, so that you can take that advice and create something even better and help contribute to the world even more. Now, our hackathon, the 4th one in this case, is going to be at the end of August this year. So in this case, you have a lot of time for preparation. And in this case, I recommend you guys taking a quick screenshot, taking a quick picture of this page, or following us on Instagram, as that's where we usually release more information about the hackathon. But this is a great opportunity for you to test out your coding knowledge and see maybe if, hey, coding is something for you. And hey, do you want to continue doing the event that you're doing later on in the future? Now, this is the last slide, but this is the junior team. I know that for everybody here might not be very, very high school level students, might not maybe grade 11s, grade 12s, grade 10s, who knows? But the problem is, what happens if you're a middle school student, or what happens if you're a slightly younger student who simply don't think that you have enough opportunity, or if you don't think you have enough responsibility or the maturity to actually teach your own class, or to actually join the organization as leadership member? Well, it's okay, because we have a full junior team here at IGO Learning. And what the junior team wants us to do is basically, we welcome middle school students. We want middle school students to also achieve and also gain the same opportunity as any of their upperclassmen, right? All the junior members here at IGO Learning, we all assigned them to a teaching assistant position at one of our classes. With our 500 teachers and the 100 weekly classes each week, we want them to also help and participate in these classes and help train themselves to become a better leader. So therefore, one day they can also be a full-fledged teacher themselves. Great thing about this is that even though you're middle school students, and even though you are just a junior team member, you are part of IGO Learning, and you are part of our family, you're part of our team. So this means that you'll automatically also qualify for the PVSA award. In this case, there's really nothing for you to miss out on. There's also another information session here you can find on YouTube. Just give it a quick search, and boom, you'll be able to find a lot of things about it. Otherwise, this kind of wraps up my presentation. You can visit our website at igolearning.org or our Instagram page. You can also reach me at the email, Discord, or the WeChat. I recommend you take a quick screenshot of it. If you are definitely interested in any leadership positions at IGO Learning, or potentially a teaching position or a TA position, or just joining our organization in order for you to be a better team member, you can take a quick screenshot and just let me know if you have anything in mind. But in this case, that's my presentation for myself. And again, thank you everybody for joining me.
Thank you, Stanley, for that very informative presentation, and I'm sure everyone has taken a lot from it. And thank you again for Amy and Kevin and Stanley for sharing their advice with us today. And I see one question for Stanley in the chat from Yen. How do you register the training video in order to become a teacher?
So that's a great question. So on our YouTube channel, we have a great information session. You can also visit our website, look around. There's going to be a lot of places where you can actually register, where I recommend you taking a screenshot of it. And then after the presentation itself, I'll send you some links on how you can actually apply to become a teacher. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, great. And also, Stanley, do you have the link for your website? Maybe you can talk about it.
Screen right now, if you take a look at it, is https://igolearning.org. Oh, okay, I'm actually going to type it in chat too, if this helps everybody.
Thank you.
Yep, no worries. Chat, thank you guys.
Thank you. So do we have any more questions for any of our panelists today? Amy, Kevin, or Stanley? Yes, Caroline, go ahead.
Oh, so I was wondering that, like, if I wanted to do like AI and like stuff, Is there like a math requirement, like a certain level of math that I have to learn before I get started?
So Amy, Kevin,
Oh, I could take that. So in my opinion, there's not really a certain level of math requirement. I think it's more of a programming requirement. So when I started AI, I didn't use any advanced math techniques. I think if you're doing data science, a bit of statistics would be helpful, but it's wholly not necessary. And I think you shouldn't let like a math requirement get in the way of you pursuing AI. So I would just say that if you want to do AI, learn Python and then just go for it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I see Yan putting in another question in chat. Is there teaching opportunities this summer to teach Scratch level class during the summer? I think this is for Stanley.
Exactly, of course. There's a lot of opportunities for you to teach during summer. Firstly, you obviously need to finish the training at our organization itself. And yeah, so if you could send me any email, any Discord or WeChat message, I'll be able to send you all the links you need to get started. And with that in mind, yes, of course, there are a lot of opportunities in summer to teach classes.
Great, thank you, Stanley. And do we have any more questions? Feel free to drop it in chat or just unmute. So to get us going right here, I actually have a question for anyone who presented today. So what are some hardships that you have encountered when running your own club or organization and trying to get people involved?
I could. Oh no, go ahead, Stanley.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, but I'm gonna say something very similar to Amy. At my school, I also was president and also founder for the competitive programming club at our school. And I actually took advantage. Sorry, can you? Yeah, okay. I took advantage of the pandemic to actually help grow the club itself, and I was able to grow it to also 50 members in the span of 2 weeks. So able to get the principal on board too, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I guess the hard part for me, at least, and also maybe Amy, you could fill in about a little bit about your experiences, but the hard thing for me was at the start, it was very hard. It was very hard to advertise. It was very hard to get students actually interested in a club that they've never heard about. So at the start, it was hard. It was actually finding people that were interested. Eventually, we were able to find 10 people, and it got to 20 people, and then in a blink of an eye, it became 50 people. So I guess for me, at least, it was just the very start that was actually very hard.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you mentioned kind of getting that started, especially in a ground that is not very conscious. Because I think our school, for sure, we had a comp sci club and then it died out because our support at STEM for our school is it could be better. But for sure, especially like, for example, data science, not a lot of people really know what that is, but they'll be attracted by the flashy name. But you know, if you're kind of being started in, say, in a pandemic era, definitely a lot of people don't know and don't really want to look into it. So a lot of that is kind of sowing those seeds and getting that initial engagement. Because I think once you have, say, a solid group of people that can kind of help you out and can help you in. So a lot of, for me, it was getting kind of my board together, getting the leadership group and getting the core together that can help to individually reach out and individually get more people in. And kind of expand that club. But I think just being able to have that good organization, good social support structure, and good backing from, say, your sponsor or, you know, whoever is kind of helping or mentoring you in essence, that's always very helpful in getting that engagement and initial kind of uncertainty finished. But yeah, great question.
Yeah, I agree with Amy and Stanley. Just to add on a little, I think for me, I didn't specifically found an AI club, but I was president, founded 2 service clubs at my school. So like public health club at my school. And I think that to address the challenge of getting people on board, what really helpful for me is to establish a very solid structure for the officer team. Because I think that if you get the right people who are passionate and willing to put time in, willing to put effort and want to do your club truly with you, then you have so much more support structure that each officer can go to their friend groups and get people involved there. And I think that also if you have a strong officer team, the underclassmen at your school will like want to join to be able to like, interact with the people, learn from them. And I just think that it overall builds a better culture.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And a follow-up question, since we're talking about getting started, what tips would you give to people for multitasking, like a lot of projects while taking many courses? And this is for any of our presentators.
I think for me, don't like overbook. I think that you should just choose like, in addition to your courses, a few of the projects that you're like truly passionate about and put like most of your time in that. I think that if you like are disciplined and be able to time management well, and also if you have like a support structure in your organizations and you're truly like passionate and engaged in the things that you're doing, the time will inevitably come out and you'll be able to find yourself wanting to put the time in. And I think that as long as you're not overbooking totally, I think at the beginning of the, oh, this is one thing that I would say, if you're just entering high school in 9th grade, you can go and like choose a ton of different clubs. Like I did math club, AI club, programming club. But as your course work gets harder and harder throughout the years, then choose like the core things that you want to truly invest your time in.
Yeah, add on to that a little bit. I think what Kevin said was completely correct. Personally, what I did actually, yeah, obviously don't overbook, right? Be very flexible with your time, and including one of the year 4 students at the University of Waterloo in Canada. I have a big brother over there that's currently studying computer science. Basically, be flexible with your time, but also at the same time, also have deadlines, have goals, and be flexible at the same time. Be flexible enough so that you can achieve the goals. And the second thing I would say is maybe get a planner. A planner was very useful for me to write all the tasks I need to do down, and especially the steps I need to actually do to achieve the goal that you want to do, right? So that's for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think Planner and Google Calendar, very important tools for all of us. But really just getting that organization in. I think I just back everything that everyone else has said. But yeah, as Kevin also mentioned, don't be afraid to explore your first few years when you have kind of a lighter load, for sure. Because, you know, you always have a lot more time, I think, freshman year when you're getting your steps in, or when the first few months of every year, when the courses aren't as hard. But especially once you get to finals, definitely start being able to prioritize where you are and what is most important to you, and what will make you feel good in the long run.
Yeah, thank you for the advice. And I see one more question for Stanley in the chat. And I was wondering what the schedule showing on TourLab for Scratch AI.
My apologies, might be just me, but I don't completely understand that question. So if it's okay, if you quickly rephrase it, hopefully I'll be able to answer it then.
Oh, I am looking at the website you show on your slides, the AI Learning.org. So, I was late, so I didn't see anything before, but just checking the website and see a class, Scratch class AI, and I wonder, is it for summer class, and what's the schedule for that? Thank you.
Of course, yeah, no worries. There's a lot of classes, right, that's available, and especially for the nonprofit that we're working with right now. You can also ask Lucy a lot about it, because we've set up a summer school camp for you guys actually. So I recommend you reach out to Lucy and also the organizers of this event, and they'll be able to provide you lots of insights. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of summer school programs. And yeah, Lucy, if you're able to actually provide them with the link for the class or where they can access the class, that would be great, because you guys have a personalized one for your organization.
Yeah. So again, I will share my. So was it okay if I screen share?
Yeah, I think they can visit GYP website. There's some link there.
Yeah, so we can check out our slideshow right here and have this link for our website. And again, you can find all sorts of information here and also about PVSA. And yeah, so I'll leave this slide up here for a few seconds for anyone who's interested in taking a screenshot. Great. Hope that answers your problem. Okay, cool. Actually, I'll leave this up here for anyone else for a few seconds. And meanwhile, last call for any questions for Amy, Kevin, or Stanley, or just about our organization. All right, great. Seeing no questions, I think we'll stop our seminar right here today. Thank you for everyone who came today, and thank you to Amy, Kevin, and Stanley for the wonderful presentations. And hope to see you guys.
To appreciate for our presence beyond.
Okay, thank you.